Welcome, in front of me is a ZTE Blade A36, and today I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, and just my general opinion about the phone itself. So let's just get started by opening it up, and yeah, that's one, I guess. And can I pop this one as well? Yes, I can. Okay, so in here we have the phone itself. It gives us some basic information: 64 gigabytes of storage, 12. Oh, I hate this. 4 gigabytes of RAM. Fuck off with this garbage right here. This is not true. This is I love how you now put an asterisk. What the fuck is this? This isn't an asterisk kind of moment. It's either RAM or it's not. Random access memory, or it's nothing else. Anyway, moving on. 6.75-inch display with a 90 Hz refresh rate, a 5000 mAh battery, and face unlock. Wow, so we have a selfie camera. That's basically what you meant to say. Okay. Yeah, man, pop out of there. There we go. Yeah, that's interesting back. Have a little bit of a sparkle going on in it. Edward design, cool. Now here we have a case. It's actually nice that it's included in a box. We have some garbage paperwork. We have the typical European Union sticker for device lasting 54 hours, which is more than you will last, and Type-C cable. Oh, and there we go. And also a screen protector included. So I guess they decided not to put it on out of the factory on their own. Great. I always love that. They give you this but not put it on. Now the reason I have a problem with this is because plastic screen protectors like this one are absolute cancer to put it on yourself without actually like leaving some air bubbles on here. So you might as well just buy yourself a tempered glass and not bother with that piece of crap, because it's nearly impossible to put that on without bubbles. Or maybe I'm just brain deficient and I can't do it, but I can put basically tempered glass without any kind of problem. Shit, I can even remove it and put it back on, and it still will look better than plastic screen protectors like the one that is included here. So anyway, let's boot it up and be presented with the display right here, which, like I mentioned, is a 6.7 inches. But what I didn't mention, because they didn't mention it on that little thing right here, that's because it's nothing to write home about, is the 720p resolution of the screen. Great. It's also IPS, which again, it's not great. But surprisingly enough, it's running at 90 Hz refresh rate. Now, the reason I'm saying surprisingly, because this device is such a... I am harsh to it, because I just hate misinformation like this one, right? I cannot stand this. This is blatant lie, misinformation, and trying to mislead people into thinking that they're getting more than they actually are. This device does not come anywhere near with 12 gigs of RAM. And if we cut away the second line, it literally straight up tells you, if we cut away this one, that's the bold letters, right? That is 64 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. No, it doesn't. Both of these are bullshit in this case. Because if, number one, if we even conceive this moronic, derpy-ass, stupid, retarded logic that we have 12 gigabytes of RAM, which we don't, because most of this is taken from storage, it's taken from storage. Therefore, if you have 12 gigs of whatever bullshit R you have right here, you don't have 64 gigabytes of storage. So you have like 58, how much? Yep, about... Wait, no, sorry, they're taking 8 gigabytes. So 56 gigs of storage is your actual storage, and then 12 gigabytes of fake bullshit marketing, right? Or more like 8 gigs of bullshit marketing and 4 of actual RAM. So neither one of these claims is correct. And then if you look at it below, you have plus 4 gigs, or 4 gigs plus 8 gigs. Extra quotation mark or asterisk RAM. There is no asterisk. You're supposed to say it ROM in this case, because that's what it is. It's literally this. It's this being 8 plus. No, you like fuck off with this shit. Anyway, so I am going to be very harsh because of this, because I hate this. For people that don't know this, this is literally lying to them. And little asterisks won't solve that. And bullshit excuse that, oh, we put an asterisk, so you should know. No, people shouldn't know when you're calling something incorrectly. It's not their job to be informed about technical shit. It's your job to put correct information. And Nubia sure as shit did not. So, that being said, judging this phone will be very hard outside of that because it's cheap phone. Let's put it this way. Like, really cheap. But because it's so inconceivably cheap at $60 I don't know any other device at this price range that would offer anything near even this phone. Like I said, I don't even know a phone at this price range. If I remember any kind of phone that were close to these price ranges, they were not Android devices. So as an Android phone, it's not the easiest kind of thing to give you opinion about, give you kind of information that I could compare to anything else on the market, because there isn't almost anything else on the market. So let's try to be open-minded outside of that ROM bullshit. So we're looking at a 6.7 720p inch display with a 90 Hz refresh rate. Already, like I mentioned, 90 Hz on this phone is surprising. That is more than I would expect any phone from... Why is it warm here? Literally, phone is warm for no reason. Okay, so it's more refresh rate on a display than I expect most phones to have at nearly double the price. So it's already kind of smashing its way into like pretty interesting territory. Moving on, we have again, interestingly enough, 5,000 milliampere battery. Pretty good. Not gonna lie, pretty good. What isn't good though is a 10-watt charging speed. It's a big battery with a very, very slow charging speed. Again, $60, so I should be like really tempering down my expectations right here, as the phone working is probably already surprised at this price range, and not being like a cheap knockoff of something. So good battery, the fact that it charges is, I guess, good. 4 gigabytes of RAM, like I mentioned, with a Unisec T7200, if I can see that correctly, T7200 processor, which again, bottom of the barrel processors right here. We have also 13 megapixel selfie that does 1080p 30 frames and 5 megapixel, 13 megapixel main sensor. That's what I meant to say. That does 1080p 30 and a selfie of 5 megapixels right here in this drop-down teardrop. That doesn't even specify what it records as. That's really all the info that I should really need to say. One more thing that I do want to mention is the build quality. It's plastic, as you'd most likely expect. Plastic frame, plastic back, and nothing really special at $60 again. So I'm not going to complain about that one. And in the tray, again, that is interesting, we have dual SIM card support as well as dedicated SD card support, which is going to be good considering the phone has 56 gigabytes of storage by default. So not that much storage right here. So it might be very beneficial to you to utilize this tray for an actual SD card. So that about sums up the device. It is a very, very budget device, which the price indicates that, with good battery size and interestingly high refresh rate for such a price, with blatant misinformation on the packaging. And in general, like I said, there's nothing I can compare it to. So if you're looking for like stupidly cheap phone, this is going to be it. Like there is not much I can think about that would basically outperform this at this price range. Honestly, I can't think about anything. So yeah, now would I recommend picking up such a cheap device? Now that is a different question. If your budget allows for it, no. But if your budget doesn't, then obviously it doesn't really matter. But if you are willing to be open-minded at spending more on your phone, I'm not going to be telling you to go buy the flagship phones because those are the greatest and whatever. No, like realistically, they're shit too. You pay way too much for literally almost nothing changed. So what I would recommend is looking for what I consider the sweet spot of phones, which is at this moment mid-range that come at about $200. Now it is significantly more. That's why I'm saying be open-minded. This is just a suggestion, I'm not telling you that you need to get that, right? But as a suggestion, at $200, this is the best thing I know as a value for money, which outperforms phones up to nearly $600 to $700, has great cameras, way better specifications all throughout. And that would be the CMF Phone 2 Pro. And furthermore, if you want to get a cheaper one that is almost very close in terms of performance to the CMF 2 Pro, you can probably get at $150 the CMF Phone 1, or just the CMF phone as it was called, which is a year-old device with slightly crappier cameras, but it's still going to be much better than this, and it really rivals with itself realistically. So depending on which one you prefer, the CMF Phone 1 might be much cheaper because it's already been substituted by the newer version, while still being a stupidly good phone for the money that it costs. It's honestly like unfair to competition, I would say. So that would be my kind of recommendation if your budget can be stretched this much. But the reason I'm pointing out literally like what, 4 or 5 times more, 4 times more expensive phones, or 3 times in this case, is because in grand scheme of things of phones prices, I guess we're starting at $60 as this is the lowest one, which prices can go all the way up to like $1,800, the retarded kind of areas of prices. The 150 is a minuscule jump from this, and it's in terms of performance and user experience, it's going to be just inconceivable how much better this device will be compared to this one. So that's just my general kind of logic right here. But like I said, if your budget can stretch there, and that's basically what you're looking at, then obviously it really doesn't matter what I just said. But in any case, that being said, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.